5 types of relatives you should absolutely not visit in old age. As we grow older, our priorities shift. Our physical and emotional energy becomes more precious, and how we choose to spend our time deeply affects our quality of life. Relationships are vital, but not all relationships bring joy or comfort. Some family connections, unfortunately, can drain us rather than uplift us. It's essential to recognize which relatives might negatively impact your well-being and why it's okay to set boundaries in these relationships. Here are 5 types of relatives you should reconsider visiting in your golden years. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. The judgmental relative life, especially in old age, is too short to spend on judgment. Yet many of us have a relative who seems to thrive on pointing out flaws or delivering unsolicited advice. Whether it's a comment about how you spend your retirement, how you manage your health, or even your choices decades ago, these interactions can leave you feeling belittled or disrespected. As we grow older, we carry with us not only the wisdom of our years, but also the scars of past judgments. There's a unique sting when criticism comes from family, people you may have sacrificed for, cared for, or deeply loved. Their harsh words can feel like betrayals, cutting into the fabric of the bond you share. And yet, it's important to remember that their judgments often say more about them than they do about you. A judgmental relative often operates from their own insecurities or a need to feel superior. Perhaps they see your independence as a threat, or your contentment in retirement reminds them of the things they didn't achieve. It's not uncommon for people to project their fears or regrets onto others, especially onto those who seem at peace with their lives. But at this stage in your journey, you've earned the right to peace. Peace in your choices, peace in your memories, and peace in your relationships. Subjecting yourself to constant judgment chips away at that peace. It can make you second-guess decisions you've long made, decisions that were right for you at the time. It can create unnecessary tension and rob you of the joy you deserve in this precious phase of life. Instead of subjecting yourself to this dynamic, consider what you truly want from your remaining years. Isn't it a sense of fulfillment? Isn't it laughter, love, and the freedom to live authentically? If a relative's words make you feel less than worthy, you have every right to step back. This isn't about cutting ties out of spite. It's about preserving your mental and emotional well-being. When you find yourself in their company, you don't have to engage. You don't have to defend your choices or justify your past. You can simply listen, smile politely, and change the subject to something neutral, like family memories or the weather. If the criticism persists, remember that you're not obligated to stay. Politely excusing yourself can be an act of self-care. You've spent decades navigating the ups and downs of life. You've built a legacy of resilience, love, and wisdom. Don't let a judgmental relative dim the light you've worked so hard to cultivate. Surround yourself with people who see the value in your journey, who uplift you with their words and actions. Let those be the relationships you cherish in your golden years. 2. The constantly negative relative. As we age, the importance of preserving emotional well-being becomes increasingly clear. Each day is a gift, and filling those days with gratitude and peace becomes a deeply fulfilling way to live. Yet some relationships threaten to disrupt this harmony, especially with a relative who carries an air of constant negativity. Their outlook on life seems perpetually clouded, their conversations brimming with complaints, criticisms, or despair. For seniors who often seek calm and reflection in their later years, such interactions can feel like a heavy burden. A constantly negative relative is not just someone who has the occasional bad day or shares a personal struggle. This is someone whose worldview is persistently bleak, someone who seems to find fault in everything, people, circumstances, even moments of joy. They complain about politics, criticize family members, or lament about things beyond their control, often leaving no room for uplifting or meaningful discussions. Being around them can feel like stepping into a storm, where their negative energy dominates the atmosphere. The toll of these interactions on older adults can be profound. Negativity, especially when it is relentless, has a way of seeping into your own mindset. You might find yourself feeling anxious or deflated after spending time with them, even if their grievances have nothing to do with you. Over time, this exposure can dampen your sense of optimism and make you question whether the relationship is worth maintaining. And yet, because they are family, it may feel difficult to step away or set boundaries. It's important to recognize that a constantly negative relative is often trapped in their own pain or dissatisfaction. Their outlook is likely shaped by unresolved issues, unfulfilled expectations, or fears they cannot articulate. While this understanding can foster compassion, it does not mean you must bear the weight of their negativity. You cannot control their mindset or fix their unhappiness, and trying to do so will only drain your own energy. Instead, the key lies in protecting your peace while maintaining a level of empathy. Begin by reframing your interactions with this relative. Understand that their negativity is not a reflection of you or your choices. It is a manifestation of their own struggles. This shift in perspective can help you approach their complaints with detachment rather than internalizing their outlook. When they begin to spiral into negativity, remind yourself that you are under no obligation to absorb their perspective or carry their emotional burdens. Setting boundaries is an essential part of maintaining your well-being. If this relative often dominates conversations with complaints, steer the discussion toward neutral or positive topics. For example, you might gently redirect by saying, "That sounds difficult. Let's talk about something that brings us both joy." If their negativity persists, it's okay to limit the duration of your visits or phone calls. Politely but firmly, explain your need for uplifting interactions by saying something like, "I care about you, but I want to focus on the positive things in life right now." Another strategy is to prioritize your own self-care. After spending time with this relative, engage in activities that restore your sense of peace, whether it's gardening, taking a walk, or sharing a laugh with a close friend. Surround yourself with people who bring positivity into your life, as their presence will help counterbalance the effects of any negative interactions. It's also worth considering the power of forgiveness, though not necessarily for their sake. Forgiveness allows you to release any resentment or frustration their negativity might create, freeing you from the emotional toll of their outlook. This doesn't mean excusing their behavior or allowing it to continue unchecked. Rather, it means letting go of the weight their negativity places on your heart. Finally, remember that you are in control of your own happiness. While you cannot change the nature of a constantly negative relative, you can choose how much of your time and energy you devote to them. By focusing on relationships and activities that uplift you, you ensure that your golden years are spent in ways that bring joy and fulfillment. Negativity may persist in the world, but it does not have to define your experience of it. By setting boundaries, fostering gratitude, and choosing positivity, you reclaim your peace and create a life that reflects the wisdom and serenity you've earned. Life is too precious to let it be overshadowed by the darkness of others' perspectives. You've earned the light, seek it, and let it fill your days. 3. The self-centered relative. In the intricate web of family dynamics, there are connections that nurture and sustain us, and others that leave us feeling invisible and undervalued. The self-centered relative often falls into the latter category, a person whose world revolves solely around their own experiences, achievements, or struggles. For seniors, especially those who have spent their lives giving and sacrificing for the sake of others, such a relationship can feel profoundly empty, lacking the reciprocity that makes family bonds truly meaningful. The self-centered relative might not even realize how their behavior affects you. They dominate conversations, turning every interaction into a monologue about their own lives, whether it's their latest achievement, grievance, or mundane concern. Their focus rarely shifts to your well-being, your stories, or your needs. Even when they ask about your life, the question often feels perfunctory, a brief pause before they steer the conversation back to themselves. Over time, these interactions can leave you feeling dismissed, as though your presence is valued only insofar as you are an audience for their self-importance. For an older adult, this dynamic can be particularly disheartening. As the years pass, you come to realize how precious time and connection truly are. Every conversation and every shared moment carries the weight of irreplaceable value. To spend that time with someone who doesn't truly see you or appreciate your perspective can feel like a profound loss, a missed opportunity for genuine connection in a phase of life when such connections matter most. But understanding the root of a self-centered relative's behavior can bring clarity, even if it doesn't change the dynamic. Often, their self-absorption stems from insecurity or a deep need for validation. They may feel unfulfilled in their own lives, and focusing on themselves becomes a way to assert control or importance. While it's possible to have compassion for their struggles, it's also vital to recognize that their needs should not overshadow your own. You've spent decades supporting and uplifting others. Now is the time to ensure your relationships also uplift you. Navigating this type of relationship requires a delicate balance of boundaries and self-care. It's important to acknowledge your feelings and accept that their behavior is unlikely to change. You cannot force someone to listen, care, or engage in a deeper, more meaningful way if they are not willing. What you can do is control your response and your level of involvement. When interacting with a self-centered relative, try to set the tone for the conversation. Share your stories and perspectives with confidence, even if they seem uninterested. If they interrupt or steer the topic back to themselves, decide how much energy you want to invest. Sometimes, simply listening and nodding can be less taxing than trying to redirect the conversation. Other times, you may choose to gently but firmly assert your desire to be heard, saying something like, "I'd love to tell you about what's been happening in my life as well." It's also okay to limit your time with this relative. Prioritize relationships that feel reciprocal, where both parties listen, share, and genuinely care about one another's well-being. These are the connections that nourish your spirit and bring joy, reminding you of the beauty of mutual respect and understanding. Forgiveness can also play a role, though not in the sense of excusing their behavior. Forgiveness is about letting go of the frustration or resentment their self-centeredness might create, freeing yourself from the emotional toll of unmet expectations. By releasing those feelings, you allow yourself to approach the relationship with clarity and without the weight of disappointment. Above all, remember that your time and energy are precious. The self-centered relative may always be a part of your family, but they don't have to dominate your emotional landscape. By choosing to invest in relationships that bring warmth, laughter, and depth, you ensure that your later years are filled with the kind of meaningful connections that make life truly rich. You've earned the right to be seen, valued, and celebrated, and those who fail to offer that don't deserve to define your story. 4. The drama maker. In life, peace is a treasure, and as we grow older, its value becomes even more apparent. The chaos of youth, the ambition, the struggles, the constant striving, gives way to a desire for tranquility, reflection, and meaningful connections. But for some, peace is a concept they cannot grasp. These individuals, the drama makers, seem to thrive on conflict, stirring up tensions wherever they go, creating storms that disrupt the calm you've worked so hard to cultivate. For older adults, Dealing with such relatives can feel not just exhausting, but outright harmful, as their actions can erode the harmony that should define your golden years. Drama makers have an uncanny ability to create discord. Their tools are gossip, exaggeration, and manipulation. They sow seeds of mistrust between family members, revive old wounds that should have healed long ago, and draw others into conflicts that have nothing to do with them. They might frame themselves as the victim in every situation, demanding attention and sympathy, or they may play the instigator, igniting arguments and then stepping back to watch the fallout. Their behavior often feels juvenile, but the consequences are deeply impactful, especially for seniors who value their remaining time and relationships. The motivations behind a drama maker's actions can vary. Perhaps they crave attention, and conflict is the easiest way to command it. Perhaps they feel insecure and find validation in controlling the emotional landscape of those around them. Or perhaps they've simply never learned healthier ways of interacting. Whatever the reason, their inability to exist without chaos does not mean you are obligated to endure it. The effects of a drama maker on your well-being cannot be overstated. Their behavior can strain relationships, leaving you caught between family members who have been pulled into their web of discord. You might find yourself dreading family gatherings, worrying about what will be said or done, and carrying the weight of unresolved conflicts long after the event has ended. This kind of stress is not just emotionally taxing. It can take a toll on your physical health, increasing blood pressure, disrupting sleep, and even exacerbating chronic conditions. It's important to remember that while you cannot control the actions of a drama maker, you can control how you respond. The first step is recognizing their behavior for what it is, a pattern designed to draw you into their turmoil. Understanding this allows you to approach interactions with a sense of detachment. You don't have to engage in their arguments, respond to their provocations, or defend yourself against their manipulations. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply not react. Setting boundaries with a drama maker is essential. This might mean limiting your time with them, declining invitations to gatherings where you know their presence will dominate, or steering conversations toward neutral topics when you do interact. It can also mean asserting your needs directly, saying something like, "I value our time together, but I'm not comfortable discussing this topic," or "I prefer not to get involved in these issues." While these boundaries may be met with resistance, they are vital for protecting your peace. It's also worth considering the company you keep. Surround yourself with family members and friends who bring positivity, laughter, and understanding into your life. These are the relationships that matter most, the ones that nurture your spirit and remind you of the joys of connection. By prioritizing these bonds, you can ensure that your time is spent in ways that uplift rather than drain you. Forgiveness can also play a role in dealing with a drama maker, but it doesn't mean excusing their behavior or inviting it back into your life. Forgiveness is about releasing the anger or resentment you may feel toward them, freeing yourself from the emotional weight of their actions. This can be a powerful way to reclaim your peace, allowing you to move forward without carrying the burdens of their chaos. Your later years are a time to focus on what truly matters: your health, your happiness, and the relationships that enrich your life. Drama makers may continue to spin their webs, but you are under no obligation to get caught in them. By choosing peace over conflict and surrounding yourself with those who value and respect you, you ensure that your golden years are just that. Golden, filled with light, warmth, and the serenity you've earned through a lifetime of wisdom and perseverance. 5. The overly dependent relative family is often described as a circle of support, a place where love and care flow freely, ensuring no one feels alone in their struggles. But what happens when that flow becomes unbalanced? When one relative's needs begin to dominate and overshadow others' lives? An overly dependent relative can transform this circle into a chain, binding you to responsibilities that feel endless and overwhelming. For seniors, especially those who have spent their lives giving to others, this dynamic can feel particularly burdensome in a stage of life meant for peace and self-focus. Dependence isn't inherently negative. It's natural for family members to rely on one another in times of need. But there's a fine line between occasional reliance and chronic dependency, and crossing that line can take a toll on your physical, emotional, and even financial well-being. The overly dependent relative might constantly seek emotional support, sharing their problems without considering your capacity to bear them. They might repeatedly ask for financial help, unaware or uncaring of the strain it places on your fixed income. They might even demand your time and energy in ways that leave you feeling exhausted or resentful, as though your own needs no longer matter. At the core of this dynamic is often an imbalance of responsibility. Perhaps you've always been the one they turn to, the steady hand, the wise voice, the reliable caregiver. And while that role may have brought you pride or purpose in the past, it can now feel like an anchor weighing you down. You may find yourself asking, when do I get to rest? When is it my turn to be cared for, or simply to care for myself? The truth is, this stage of life is your time. After years of providing, sacrificing, and putting others first, you've earned the right to focus on your own health, happiness, and fulfillment. But the overly dependent relative often struggles to see this. Their world revolves around their own needs, and they may not understand, or choose not to understand, the impact their demands have on you. They might use guilt as a tool, reminding you of past help you've offered, or framing their dependency as a testament to how much they trust and value you. This can create an emotional conflict, especially for seniors who value family deeply. You may feel torn between your desire to help and your growing need to prioritize yourself. You may worry about the consequences of setting boundaries. Will they feel abandoned? Will they lash out? Will the family judge me? These fears are valid, but it's crucial to remember that boundaries are not acts of cruelty. They are acts of self-preservation and often acts of love. By stepping back, you allow your relative the opportunity to grow, to find solutions beyond relying on you, and to develop the resilience they need to face life's challenges. Establishing boundaries with an overly dependent relative begins with honest communication. It's important to be firm yet compassionate, explaining your limits without placing blame. For example, if they often seek financial help, you might say, "I wish I could continue helping, but my budget is tight, and I need to focus on my own stability." If their emotional needs are overwhelming, you might suggest, "I care about you deeply, but I think a counselor could provide the kind of support you need right now." These conversations may be uncomfortable, but they are necessary to create a healthier dynamic. Equally important is recognizing and respecting your own needs. Ask yourself what brings you joy and peace. Whether it's pursuing a long-neglected hobby, spending time with friends, traveling, or simply enjoying the quiet moments of reflection that aging allows. By focusing on these aspects of your life, you can replenish your energy and reconnect with the parts of yourself that may have been overshadowed by years of caregiving and sacrifice. Your later years are a time to prioritize yourself and the relationships that uplift you. By setting boundaries with an overly dependent relative, you reclaim the freedom to live authentically and meaningfully, ensuring that your golden years are filled with joy, peace, and fulfillment. It's also helpful to redirect your relative towards other resources. Encourage them to build a wider support network, seek professional help, or explore community programs designed to assist those in need. By sharing the responsibility, you can step back without leaving them unsupported. Remember, your role in their life should complement, not replace, their ability to navigate challenges independently. Finally, give yourself permission to let go of guilt. Caring for yourself does not mean you love your family any less. It means you recognize that your well-being is just as important as theirs. The energy you conserve by setting boundaries can be redirected toward the relationships and activities that truly nurture your soul. The overly dependent relative may not change overnight, or at all, but by creating space and focusing on your own needs, you can reclaim your time and energy. This ensures that your golden years are filled with the peace, joy, and fulfillment you deserve. This is your season to thrive, and no one has the right to take that away from you. Embracing peace and prioritizing joy in your golden years. As we journey through the golden years of life, the choices we make about how and with whom we spend our time become profoundly important. Relationships that once seemed tolerable or even essential may now feel burdensome or draining. This isn't about abandoning family or neglecting our responsibilities. It's about recognizing the value of peace, the necessity of emotional well-being, and the right to prioritize joy in this precious chapter of life. Not all relationships are equal, and not all family bonds are nurturing. Some connections uplift us, fill our hearts with warmth, and remind us of the beauty of love and togetherness. Others, however, can drain our energy, leave us feeling unappreciated, or pull us into cycles of conflict and negativity. The wisdom that comes with age allows us to see these dynamics more clearly and to make thoughtful decisions about where to invest our time and energy. Stepping back from toxic or unbalanced relationships is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of self-preservation. You've spent decades nurturing, supporting, and giving to others. Now, in this stage of life, it's time to nurture yourself. Surround yourself with people who see you, value you, and bring light into your days. Spend your time with those who make you feel cherished and respected, who laugh with you, and who share in your joys. The relationships you choose to cultivate now should reflect the life you want to lead, one of peace, contentment, and meaning. And while it may be challenging to set boundaries with certain relatives, doing so is a testament to your self-respect and the wisdom you've gained over the years. Your time is precious, your energy finite, and your happiness deserved. Honor these truths as you move forward. Let go of what no longer serves you, and embrace the people and experiences that bring you fulfillment. In doing so, you give yourself the gift of a life well lived, filled with love, laughter, and the tranquility you've earned. This is your time. Live it fully and live it well. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.